Welcome back to my channel. This is Jason, also known as Omnis Prime, and today we're going to be taking a look at, not sure on the pronunciation, it's spelled C-A-N-G, but it's Chinese, so it's Cang Toys, and this is their Ferocious. This is their take on what we would call the Predacons. Here's a quick look at the book, or the box, not the book. We'll see a book inside when we get this open here. And that's the box. It's the top of the box if you need to see anything there. I can't read any of it yet. And there's the bottom of the box. And opening it up, I'm just going to show you how you would receive this. Here's the book that I had mentioned, which is the instruction manual. And we're going to take a look at everything here in just a bit. You get a collector's card. It's on good cardstock. Again, if you can read it, there you have it. And you get foam to protect it. But out of the box, this is what you would see when you receive it. And there you go, you can see them sitting nice and snug inside there. So I'm going to go ahead and get them out, and we'll be able to take a look at them. All right, and there we have them. And taking a look at them, you can see there's a lot of detail that's tampographed on top of this guy. There's not a whole lot of paint on him, but he does look, to me at least, very well sculpted. A lot of detail. He's very interesting looking. It does not come with the Decepticon emblems. Those are put there by me. And let's go and take a look at the accessories. All right. Now, if you know about Predacons, you know that this is eventually going to become a component of Predaking. They have a different name for it, and they've done some changes here for the group. So it's not just going to be a 5-member team. They've actually added 3 additional members, so it's going to be an 8-member team, including a gorilla that will form what a lot of people are calling a monkey pants, that kind of resembles Optimus Primal, which is an odd addition, but I'm not going to complain about it. I kind of like what they're doing here. Predaking kind of came in towards the last couple of seasons, and so they didn't have them featured too often, or the Predacons in general. So I don't have the same attachment that I had to the combiners that were more towards the beginning of the Transformers series. So these changes that are being made here don't hit me as hard as it is for some other people that have that attachment. But this is the hand that it comes with. When we get to reviewing some of the other members, there's another one that comes with the other hand because it forms the other arm. And you can actually combine them together and you make a crab, which is, at least you get to do something with it other than it just sitting off to the side when you're not using combine mode. But there's a lot of articulation that's included in here, so pretty much anything you want to be able to do. Each one of the joints here is connected with a pin, so you can get a lot of different poses here. And if you've been on my channel, you know I like to be able to do a thumbs up. And I do like the added spikes and what have you that are on here, even on the knuckles. So with that being said, be careful. They are pointy. Next accessory we have here is a sword. There is some paint here that's on the blade, and there's kind of like a smoky clear plastic, kind of like what we saw with Gigapower's Gigasaurs, which kind of gives it more of a like they were looking towards some of the things that were from the toy itself and bringing it in to their versions here of the Predacons. This will ultimately combine with other weapons that are in the group, to make a larger sword. And this is his pistol or rifle, depending on what you want to call it. And you can see there's some painted detail on here, tampographed on. And in some ways it makes it look like for this version of the Predacons that it was actually designed by man. And so that's what will make this unique, at least in my collection. The other thing that you can do here with this is actually extend it. And that's only makes me believe that this is going to combine with the other weapons to make a larger gun for Predaking. Alright, now that we have the accessories out of the way, we can go ahead and take a look here at the bot. Take a closer look here at Ferocious. They've done the cardinal sin of Masterpiece and going with light piping. All of the bots they've seemed to have done this with. And fortunately, this one actually seems to be picking up the light here. So you do have some glowing going on here. Eventually down the line, I'm thinking that I'm going to probably just paint the head and just paint this up and then paint the eyes the color that I see fit. But let's go ahead and take a look at articulation. So you can turn this head a full 360. It is on a ball joint, so you can get whatever kind of motion you need out of it. Can look down and can look up. So get whatever you need out of that. For the shoulders, you can get it out to there. So we can get the T-pose going if we need to. And you can see that this hinges out. So if you need the additional play there, you do have that, because you can get this to go a full 360 without issue, even if you don't have it out like that. Sorry about all the squeaky and clicky noises here. But yeah, like I said, you get a full 360. You do have the bicep swivel for the joint here. This probably has more to do with transformation, but you get a lot more than 90. You get a lot more than what you get out of a lot of Masterpiece line as far as articulation goes in the elbow. For the wrist, you get a full 360, and the hands are actually done pretty well. However, there's not a lot of strength here because of how these were made, but each one of the fingers here are in a pin, so you get a lot of articulation options here for how you want to pose that. It is a ball joint here on where it connects with the palm, and you can see that this is a little bit different because it has this, instead of having a slot here, it actually has this sticking out here that it will slot into the weapons when you're making that connection here. For instance, you can see here on the blade, it's got a slot. Just move the thumb out of the way there. And that's how it pegs in. Same thing with the gun. So they kind of went their own direction here on how to connect that, but it holds pretty well. Now with this joint here, this is a little bit different from some of the other ones I've reviewed. You can use this as like a butterfly joint, so if you want to be able to reach across the body, you'll be able to go ahead and do so. Just mind you that there's a big animal head, cat head in the way, but you get some additional range there. You can also extend it out this way should you need to. You know, additional articulation points are always welcome. And going down to the waist, you get twist there. There is an ab crunch of sorts here, but it has more to do with getting him into arm mode, but you would be able to bend him as you need. You just need to extend the torso. Let me see if I can do that here. I don't want to get ahead of myself, because when we get to, there we go. When we get into arm mode, you'll be able to see a lot more, but yeah, you can get whatever you need out of that, should you want to do that. Does break the sculpt a little bit because, you know, he's got this longer body now. But should you need to be able to pose it that way, you do have some options to go ahead and do that. I'll just leave it like that for now. The hip skirts do get out of the way. This moves up as one piece. Yes, he has a tail. And you get thigh swivel. Kicks up to there. Going back, since all this gets out of the way, you get quite a bit back. And for the knee, you get a little bit more than 90, but not much to brag about. Most of that has to do is because there's what we would call kibble that would kind of halt any additional movement there. Down here, you get a generous amount of tilt here with the rocker, and you can get up as much as you need, and same with down. A lot of that has to do with the transformation of the legs here. But that pretty much covers what he has here for articulation wise. There you go. There is die cast in him, as well as of course plastic parts, and he's got a pretty good weight to him. All right, and in taking a look at him, you can see there's a lot of good detail. Everything comes together. I have the tail properly pinned up now, and we're taking a look at his articulation. Let's go ahead and get these weapons out of his hands, and we'll go ahead and take a look at transformation for him. All right, so first things first, what you'll want to do, start with the arms. It's the easiest. Make sure that you have a tight fist made here, and you get this as flat as possible here. You're going to have the thumb up here. Open this up. If you need to, use a spudger, it makes it easier. And you're going to flip this around so that, because it's a snug fit, once you have it in there, you're going to want to be able to get the fist back out. And what I do is I like to be able to have the thumb being able to be pulled on to go ahead and get it back out. If you have it the other way around, it's a bit difficult to get it back out. And the thumb can get snagged there. This is butting up against the palm. So again, make sure this is as flat as possible. And that should go right in, like that. Make sure you have the thumb positioned correctly here, so you can close this back up, which I don't. Oh, sorry. You'll want to roll the thumb over, and now it'll close up. Claw just pops in under there, and then you rotate it around. Fit to go. Same on the other side. You curl the fingers up. Again, make sure that it's not pushed up against the palm there. Thumb flat, rotate it around. Which I have not done. When I say butt it up against the palm, it's when it gets pushed up against like that. You actually want it to kind of sit kind of on top, so it flattens this end here for you. Because if it's curled too much, it's not going to sit flat. There you go. Rotate this down. Rotate towards the front. All set. Okay, next part here, you're just going to pull this forward. It's on a hinge and a ball joint. When you yank it all the way out here like this, these two are the sides of the neck. You're going to roll this head back up into place like so, and it just goes back into that cavity. You have these two posts here that are going to connect to these holes in the side, and for here you want to roll this around, keep the bar underneath, and the centerpiece will roll back on the bar. So you want to get it down. To where it's sitting flat like this. These two pegs will go, or posts will go into these holes here, these slots. So it's just a matter of lining everything up here first, and then just pegging it in. And then you can adjust the ears however you wish. If you want them down, you want them up, it's up to you. I like having them down like this. And when you get them in the saber-tooth tiger mode, you'll be able to mess around with the jaw. This part back here, when it closes down, it'll go and cover up this combiner peg. So I'm just extending the tail now just to get it out of the way, because the next part of this, I'm just getting the arms out of the way. So you can see what we're doing. We're going to extend this up. There is a significant amount of force that you'll need to use to get this to come out. There's no button or anything like that that'll allow that to extend easily. This is one of the drawbacks. And you'll notice that this back here is what's causing all that clicking noise. So be sure not to damage that. So up front here, what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and pull this out. This is a double hinge, so this is going to go down. And once you have that done, you're able to extend here. There's double hinges that are attached to this, and this will allow it to drop down further. Once you do that, you're just going to kind of sandwich everything back together. And this will just close back up on top of that. I find if you don't extend the hips, what happens is while you're trying to manipulate this, that this chest piece will just pop off of this hook. I mean, it's easily reattached, but it's just a hassle to deal with. And as I had mentioned, this will just now be able to fit. Incidentally, this is where you can mount his gun if you want to do that. Okay, so we're halfway there. I'm going to flip this up out of the way. The next steps are, we'll start with this leg here. You're going to flip this open, unpeg, spin that around. On here, you're going to unpeg this. Where it was pegged in was right here. Let's get this out of the way. And you're going to rotate this up and out of the way. And this, this side skirt is going to connect here with this post into this hole in the thigh. Just going to line it up, and it swivels down. But before you do that, you're going to have to flip this over. There's a double hinge that's inside the leg, and you're going to get this at a 90-degree angle. Okay, so I'm just getting this out of the way so you can kind of see what's going on here. So this needs to be at a 90 degrees. If you don't have it just right, you're not going to have this exposed to where you can go ahead and close this up, which is what you want. So that's closed, and this is pushed down. So for this part, you're just going to plug it back into where it was originally in bot mode. So it's going to close over that post. You have these hinges down here. So I'm just going to align that so you have room for the legs to sit on the outside. Here you're just going to go ahead and close this on top. And before we finish the lower leg here, I'm going to do the same on this side, because it'll be much easier once we're able to close this off. So you open this flap, unpeg this, rotate it around, unpeg that from the side, and we're going to rotate this out. And then we have to rotate this forward to collapse it in on itself. Just getting that hip skirt out of the way. And again, we want this at like a 90-degree angle. And then we close that. Move this out of the way so we can see what we're doing. So it's easier just to rotate it forward. Okay. So again, we need to make sure that we have this angled properly. So if you do it wrong, that's what happens there. Okay, once you have this down, you'll be able to guide this down lower. And you're going to peg this into the thigh. Okay, this is how it should look. Everything fits together. This is going to plug in here. In order to do that, you're going to need to sweep this all the way back up. Just pegs in there. In the center here, there's a post and a hole on this leg here in between. You just squeeze that together. That'll complete that. And for up here, this will drop into place. And this will drop in between. Just like that, everything will sandwich together there, and that'll close down. So this, we're just going to go ahead and move that into place here, like we did on the other side. And since we're on this side, we'll go ahead and work on this leg. Okay, so you're gonna extend this further down. And the easy way to do that is to split this here. This will allow this to fold out. Sorry about that. And there's these two panels that you're going to slide up. One that's on the outside, the other one's on the inside. It's just to complete the sculpt. And then you're going to rock it back into place. And then push up here to complete the leg. So that's one down. This side again, split this here. This will allow you to extend it down. Slide up the panels, one on the inside, one on the outside. Close this up, and then fold that up. Now I have this extended. That was just to go ahead and move the upper body down, so I can go ahead and collapse that now. And there you have it. Oops, that got moved. Alright, and let's go ahead and take a closer look at this guy here. Right now, I'm taking a look here at Ferocious in the saber-tooth tiger mode. It's got a lot of articulation, a lot of range given because of how the shoulders were designed here. So you can pretty much get whatever pose that you need out of your cat that you want. Same applies back here. There's a lot of range of movement. Even the tail has a lot of mobility in the way that it was designed here. It's even got a little cannon back here, just in case it's being followed. To utilize this, you'll see that it's sitting flush, so you'll actually need to raise it up a little bit. And it just plugs in. So if you wanted to have, him poised with his cannon, you do have the option to do that. For the sword, I mean, I guess you could you could stick it in there if you wanted to. As I had mentioned, you do have articulation with the head here. It's on a ball joint. I guess you can kind of go Voltron style. And get the blade in his teeth. But yeah, there's a lot of options, like I said, for posability with this guy. All this added detail. A lot of people online have said that they kind of look like Zoids being brought into Transformers. And I wouldn't argue against that. But I think Zoids look cool too. So it's not an argument or a knock against what they've done here with the design. But that's what it takes to go ahead and get it into the saber-tooth tiger mode. And I mentioned that we'll look at combine mode when we actually get to the end. And so I'm going to save that one for later. Getting him into bot mode is essentially reversing the steps. So let me go ahead and see if we can get that done for you real quick here. So to get into bot mode, I like to start with the tail. Some of the parts that are moving here, it's for what would be combine mode. So if you're wondering why those moved, that's for a different sequence altogether. So I just unplugged these so I can get the tail out. These do not pop up on you, they just snap back into place, so it's no big deal. But for the tail, there's a post here that's going to go into the slot. And when you're getting this together, there's another post down here that's going to connect into a peg hole down here. And just making some room, getting this out of the way. And, well, we might as well get the legs done, because the rest of this, to get settled in, we'll have to extend the upper body. So, for the legs, put the foot or the feet down, extend this here, rotate the panels down. You have 2 panels. This will allow you to roll this back into place here and roll this into place, and then you can collapse this back up. Unpeg this, unpeg here, unpeg that, separate here, and then we're going to rotate down here. That came loose, no problem, it'll snap back into place. And as you move this, the kneecap will go back to where it was. You're going to open up this flap. This will allow for this to go back into place here. And it's on a double hinge, so you're going to need to get that collapse in on itself. Rotate this down, and this post will go into that peg hole. Go ahead and lock this back up, and then you just close this hinge over. And if it didn't automatically go in, it's just going to slot back into place. Now, if you don't have this, see how I have it? It didn't collapse all the way. You're going to have that gap there. So be sure to have this lined up properly. Sorry about that. I just didn't have that rotated enough for it to go. So line this back up. Collapse it down. Close it up. And you can do the same on this side here. Just unplug everything here, flip up this flap, rotate down, make sure you have enough clearance. And as you're doing that, the kneecap will pop out automatically in front. Okay, you're going to undo this here. Again, down here, we're going to open this up. After we extend the foot, you're going to rotate this panel down. Remember, you have another panel on the inside. And here, you need to collapse this as much as possible. That way you can close this back up. Like that. Okay, this is going to rotate in. Make sure that this panel here collapses in as much as possible. so that you can rotate this in. Once you have that rotated in, this will all fit together nicely like that. Everything's all flush now, so you'll be able to close up that leg and just post into that hole here. Legs are complete. If you want to, you can adjust these how you wish, you know, to make it look how you like. I like having them flat so he has something sturdy to stand on. Alright, so as you can see, everything is kind of like squished down here. So like we did before, we're going to have to use some pressure. I'm just going to unplug this here so we can get some room here to work with. Like that. Now this thing is built really sturdy, so I know it looks like I'm doing a lot of force, which I am, but I'm not worried about anything breaking on here. There's actually, like the thing I had mentioned before, when this is buttered up against here, it can become unclipped. You can see there's a C-clip in there. Well, while I have this off, let me show you real quick here. I had mentioned that there's a double hinging on this, so this just slides up, and this will go over the lips here of the kind of like shoulder area. And just slide it up on the hinge until it gets up and over. Just helping that clip along. And as you put this into place, it'll just snap back into place, and see, everything's fine. Once you have it like this, you can collapse this back down. There's no need to have it extended. Okay, for the head, it's just a matter of just unpegging things. So it's easier to unpeg here. This flips out. And do the posts, flip the head forward, put these underneath. That goes back in, and you just situate the head into the chest. And up here, it's on a ball joint, so it's just going to roll back into place. And this bar needs to get back out of the way. And you have options on how you want this to look. I generally don't like to have the waffles for what posts in facing, so I like having it stored like this in the back. And you'll want to close the mouth to make sure everything sits flush. Okay, now I'd mentioned the tail and how this connects. It posts there. So when you do this, you need to be careful because there's two parts here. If it gets caught underneath, it's not going to give you the ability to angle it up like this, like you need to, in order to get this to sit up and connect. That's how it should sit, and this will plug right in. So he doesn't just have a long tail flowing behind him. The arms are easy. Just rotate this back around, orient the elbow the way that it should. This is just going to tuck underneath. There is a peg here that'll go and slot into here. That'll lock that in place. And then for the fist, like I had mentioned, if you can get that thumb lifted up, it gives you something to pull the fist out with. And just close that up. Same on this side. Flip it around, orient the elbow. Peg this into the claw. If you don't get this over enough, you won't be able to, so careful on how you get that done, because this could prevent you if you don't have it oriented properly. There. Open it up. Slide the thumb over. Thumbs up. Use that to get some leverage, and then you can pull the fist out. All right, yeah. But squeeze the ears back into place there, and there you have it. Back in bot mode. If you're looking for a Ferocious of your own, I got mine on the Chosen Prime when he released initially. I believe they're still making them, so you can still find them. They do have more on the way. There's another one supposed to be coming out in probably a couple weeks or so. But I'll have 2 more reviews for the rest that I currently have. And then as I get the other ones, I'll put them out. But this is Cang Toys' version of Rampage, Ferocious. And if you're new to the channel, please give it a subscribe. If you have any comments about this, please leave those in the comment section below. And give it a thumbs up if you liked it. If you didn't care for it so much, go ahead and give it a thumbs down. Any feedback you give me, I always appreciate that. Otherwise, that's it for Cang Toys Ferocious. Have a good one.